joined us. Jesus, where are you based? Where are you located right now?
So we are in Madrid. I'm based in Spain, in Madrid. Quite fine now that we can move pretty much around. We've been closed for 3 months, but now we are doing okay, quite okay. But we have to be careful though.
Be careful, no? Yeah, it's crazy times with the COVID. How has that impacted your company? Let's just talk about your company, not the business, but internally.
Okay, so, well, I'm Jesus Herrero. I'm one of the founders of Jump. At Jump, what we do is we do data-driven video. What that means is that we are working with companies in the entertainment industry to help them understand, based on data, what the behavior of the users, and so they can make good decisions based on what's going on in their devices and their services. This is a really great time to take a deeper look at data because people is streaming a lot. Streaming consumption is going to heaven, let's say, so that's good for all of us. And it's also new habits are let's say appearing in the consumer behavior. You know, all of us are changing a little bit of our habits because we have more time to stream in different times in different devices. Everybody home, so it's really relevant to take a deep look at how the consumers are behaving because it's the moment to start offering what each of them demand at each moment. So for us, our company, we're finding some of our clients are doing a really great job understanding this to better personalize the experiences to the users, to reduce churn, to keep them engaged to the services. So this is a great time to take a deeper look at data. That's our take out of the COVID situation.
What about you, Kumar? How you internally are coping with the COVID as a company?
As a company, I think we are, I would have said before the whole crisis started that it would have been a big problem. But looking back at things, it's been very efficient. We've all been very busy. Not the thing that we wish, but for the streaming industry, the situation is actually a positive. We are all, tech savvy. All our companies are tech savvy. So we are doing fine in terms of being able to work. So we are being more efficient, in fact. Obviously, there is a huge toll in the market, in the industry. Our friends and family are all, some of them are not having a great time. So it's a tough time, but, internally we are doing well.
I always tell our team that, we're not a restaurant. We're not suffering from that face to face. As a digital company, it's been easier for us to maneuver, this COVID. Our business, all of us here, it's growing because it's streaming and it's 100% digital. So it's interesting how different industries need to reinvent themselves, right? So the restaurant industry, I'm just picking that one right now, needs to really start thinking of how to cope and live with this. And it looks like, it's here to stay for quite some time. So once again, this is Gio from Stream Media. I'm your host of today's webinar. We have two great leaders in the streaming revolution, Kumar and Jesus. Let me start. Thank you everybody for attending. The seminar will be recorded and we're gonna send pieces of the seminars out on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. So let's start with a question which is pretty interesting. Consumer expectations and entertainment habits have changed over the last few years. How can video service providers take advantage of this mindset? So let's start with you, Jesus.
Okay, this is a good question. So what we're finding now there is there's so many different OTT services and streaming services, different offerings covering niche content, global content, sports content, all types of demands from the users. So what we expect is different moves there. So people going global with a huge amount of content, which is really expensive to try to compete with the Netflix and the Amazons and the Googles. And we see there like the big telcos, like Telefonica, Vodafone, and all these companies, pay TV operators. They need to fight that big one, because at the end of the day, they need that consumer to be consuming the most content and the more entertainment offering from their services. So that's one side of things. And then you have on the other side more niche and more local offerings in which you can become also strong there if you offer a unique proposition with a clear target.
So I have a question for you. Have you seen an increase in terms of niche OTT players, new services that are being born, maybe before and after on the OTT side? I see a yes. So I'm interested to hear your opinion there.
Yeah, no. What I see now is it's maybe before there were also a lot of streaming services, but I feel now I feel the launch of several services worldwide kind of every day. It's like the other day I was looking at the African market and I see there like 3 or 4 new streaming services coming. Also in Latin America, we have new streaming services coming where in some of them you are part of in stream. I know that. Also in Europe, so in APAC region, in the Middle East. So if you take it globally, there's a few new services coming and from different perspectives, as I mentioned. Needs content.
But is it the typical broadcaster or is it newcomers that say, hey, I'm going to compete, with the Netflix? And if yes, how do you compete with the giants? How?
So that's what I was trying to understand. Basically, I think it's if you are a niche, you have to be really good at what you do and really target your audience. So that's kind of, for example, in India, Netflix has a hard time because they do really good on local, being local content with local offering with a better pricing. So they had to change the strategy, Netflix in India. And that's because, it's probably Kumar knows a lot about this. So it's about how you compete with these guys locally from your local knowledge and also the target.
Beautiful. And that's, Kumar, what's your opinion on that? Jesus is saying that you have experience on that. Netflix has to change its strategy in India. What's the strength of local?
I think in every market, even in the US, you see a lot of experimentation going on. There are the large, NBC and large companies. There are new companies like Quibi that launched, billions of dollars spent on it. And I think that's great because there's a lot of experimentation going on.
They raised almost $1 billion to create original content. That's huge.
Yeah. But I think, I tried the service initially and I actually liked it.
15 minutes? 15 minutes videos?
Yeah, I think 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. And the first time I tried it, I thought it would be a great success because it really appealed to me. But the show that I saw, the first few episodes, they were very interesting. But after that, I couldn't find anything else that was interesting. That's just me, right? It may be a great service.
No, but
I think that comes to Jesus's value proposition. I think there's a lot of new companies coming up in India, in emerging markets, in established markets. I think that the opportunity is really that cord cutting has just accelerated during this last few months. Combination of people just being at home and playing around with more things, having more time in their hands, more cost sensitivity, I do not know what. But the acceleration of cord cutting, but the amount of money that people are spending for video services is not decreased. So there's a lot of money moving from broadcast to OTT. So everything from being able to provide quality of experience, ability to discover content, these are all going to be important. And I see companies, niche companies, as well as large companies getting into the market very quickly in different ways.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so second question is, how can content providers maximize their potential and offer a better service to their audience? What do you think? Let's start with you, Kumar.
Well, I think the consumer demand is clearly there. Billions of dollars are being spent on this. However, what people are trying to grapple is how do you deliver it in a profitable way? The profitability of OTT is, I'm not sure if it's well established. We're all, companies are all trying to figure it out. A lot of money is being spent on content, on infrastructure, on providing the best quality of experience. So I think some of the things that are going to be important are, to ensure that people can't differentiate between content that you can see on a TV through broadcast versus what you can see over internet. They expect the same quality. And then there are a lot of advantages of delivering over the internet because you can personalize not just the content, but also the monetization, the ad, the quality of experience. So all these are the kinds of things that are going to be important to create a
So,
success.
and I have a question for you. Is it all as in your vision of the world? And again, for anybody that is connecting right now, we have two great experts with us today on today's webinar, Kumar and Jesus. So, in your vision of the world, is it all going to be SVOD, subscription based?
No, I think it's going to be a combination. Actually, the last few days, you're seeing an emergence of AVOD services. There were a couple of large companies, Pluto and Tubi, that were both acquired for a large amount of money. Tubi was acquired for, I think, 400 million. So a lot of interest from the major media companies to expand into AVOD. The reasons are that, there's only a limited amount of what people are willing to spend every month on OTT. So that size of the wallet is limited. And then you have Netflix and Disney and how many more you can see. So that's one constraint. The other thing is that, because of sports going down, the ad buyers, the media, the brands are looking for better ways to reach audiences, and OTT provides a great way to personalize and target ads for the right audience. And there are great ways to really understand who the audience is, so that you're not seeing too many ads, but really focus on it. So because of these trends, there's a lot of interest behind AVOD services.
Right, I agree 100%. Jesus, how do you keep that customer engaged here? How do you keep them here? What's your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of things to make that happen, and you know that. Personalization, recommendation, good content. But I think all comes first of taking a look at the data and what's happening in the past to try to predict the future a little bit. So that's something we encourage every company to first look at what happened in the last times. You don't have to go like really back in the years, because things change daily. But maybe the last 6 months, really take a deeper look at what is working, what is not. If you change the UI, what kind of things are happening? Are you doing A/B testing? Are you doing try and error test promotions, things like that? And then first, when you look at the past, you try to do a prediction of what things are working better, and you try to replicate that. So that kind of course, you have to do that in the personalization, in the recommendation, in the engagement metrics. There are a lot of engagement metrics when you take a look at data. How long they are in the service, how many devices are they using on a day, how long they stay there, how many times they go back and in. All these kind of things are living patterns of engagement that if you take a closer look, you can take, it's like a goal, you can take a lot of actions behind that.
Oh, beautiful. And that's from a data-driven view, right? So for us, for example, that we provide an end-to-end solution, for us, engagement starts here. You need to create interactivity with the users. So it's not just about showing your content. It's also about polls, gamifications, and that's all the amazing things that Stream does. We have a great questions that comes from the audience, and I'm going to throw it at both of you, which is really interesting. Traditional content providers don't give brands enough data on ads, which is so true, right? What's the future of tracking for advertisers? And then I'll have my opinion on that one too. They deserve more accurate data on advertising. What efforts are being done? And now this is great because we're talking about two experts on data. So what exactly is being done in order to give more data back to the advertisers and to the brands? Let's start with you, Kumar.
That's a great question. The ad ecosystem has so many different players. When my company started getting into this, it was just fascinating that you have, ad exchanges, and then there are supply side platforms, publisher side platforms, and so on and so forth. And there is a need in terms of, how do you ensure that, every spot you have gets an ad and it's filled up, right? So yes, there is a need for the brands to understand as to how people actually engaged with ads, whether they actually played viewed the ads, whether the ads performed well, on a pre-roll basis or a mid-roll basis, all that stuff. But I think the advertisers would benefit from having that visibility. That's one of the things that my company is looking to solve. So we have the ability to understand, and collect data from the user's perspective for the benefit of the publisher primarily, but also for the benefit of the ecosystem partners, including the brands. But it's a great question. That's one of the things that,
Yeah, and it's huge. What about you, Jesus? What do you think? And then I'll throw my 2 cents at it.
Yeah, so my idea there is that we, for example, at Jump, we have a module that tracks advertisement, and we offer that to the brand. So if you have an OTT service direct to consumer, what I suggest, if you're an advertisement and you're selling ads to these platforms, you should ask them to provide the info and these kind of metrics, and not in a general view, because at the end, in an OTT service, you can track everything. How long the ad was viewed, in what devices, how many times, how many clicks through. You can track just about everything. So you can just ask for the most relevant KPIs, just select. You don't have to have like 100 KPIs. You can select 10 KPIs that are really the ones that for the advertisement are the relevant. And provide the company, the content provider or the D2C brand will be able to provide it to you. And if not, you should, as an advertisement, request it, because then you have a lot of upselling opportunities there. For example, I know that smart TV ads, at least in Spain, and I think it's happening globally, you have a much higher CPM than in a mobile app, but about 5 times higher. So this is really relevant information for the advertisers, for everybody to know, because at the end, you can sell more ads and more money into these devices. So for me,
absolutely. And I think that transparency, I think we're still at the early stages, right, of complete transparency of data. You do, as a content owner, you need to find the right partners, right, that have the technology to be able to give you that view, right, of everything that is happening from the user perspective to the brands. It's still new. I think in the OTT, we're doing things in that space. We have integrations with you, Jesus, with Jump TV to be able to help that customer journey. But yeah, there's much more that can be done. I think as a content owner, you need to find the partners that are willing to do that with you. And you're absolutely right. And focus on those 10, 5 to 10 KPIs that are really going to take that business to the next level. We have another amazing questions coming from the audience, which is interesting. Everything you're discussing and talking about sounds great, right? But how do I get from X to Y? What are the costs, times? I have the content, now what, right? Jesus, let's start with you. What do you think?
No, exactly. So now the first thing, in my opinion, is you have to decide is what is the budget more or less that you have. And then you can go to end-to-end solutions. And for example, Stream has an amazing end-to-end solution, and they partner with companies like me, like Media Melon, like advertisers. They partner with different companies, but they are already pre-integrated. So for you, it's a matter of understanding. You can assume that, let's say, monthly cost that you're going to have to run all your technology, let's say. So that's kind of what I would do if I launch a service at the beginning, at an early stage. Of course, companies in another level with amazing billion-dollar budgets, they go other ways like self-building, internal building. But if you want to compete with those guys, the way to go for me, it's select these kind of partners, because otherwise you have to build a platform yourself.
Okay, but don't you think that, and I think that the question was also in terms of cost, now you're adding this, you're adding this, you're adding this. Now the cost of the platform becomes bigger. How quickly can we implement it? Kumar, what's your take on that?
I think that it's becoming easier to pick the best of breed, pick the best video platform, the best recommendation engine. So pick the best companies in the market and bring them together. The streaming industry seems very, seems like everybody's doing the same thing, but what Jump does, what Media Melon does are, both very critical, important, and different. And I think working with a good platform company that can bring together different parties might be a very good and efficient way to keep costs down and keep the timescales short.
I think the biggest fear is, I already have a partner. I already have an OTT platform. Now on the data. So we came up with a formula that is quite interesting, and I want to show you what that looks like. Let me see what I have it here. And I think it includes all of us into this mix, which is if you have can you guys see the screen? No. If you have content, right, which many of you on the phone have, now you need to distribute that content. And that's really the key, right? You need to be on every single screen, iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV. So you need to distribute it. Then you need to engage, right? If you're not engaging, and the cool thing about engagement, I think engagement can go in so many different areas. It can be gamification. It could be, it's data-driven, right? You want to keep that customer engaged in the platform. You need to provide them what content that they watch the most, what content they like. So if you don't have content, distribution, and engagement with real data, you will never be able to monetize. And what's interesting, it's actually a mathematical formula. If you don't have, if C is 1 and D is 5 and E is 0, M is going to be 0, right? If C is 0, obviously, if you don't have content, you don't go anywhere. So there is a formula for success, but you gotta have all these, you know, these elements in order for you to really make it big and win and win in digital. So let me catch another because one of the questions why I raised this is because somebody asked, is there a real formula for OTT success? And I think I just showed it. So let me ask another question. What are the challenges you witness streaming services are facing when it comes to collecting the data from the audience? Go ahead, Jesus. Let's tackle that one.
So can you repeat the question, because I was reading another question that it was funny.
Okay. You want to say something?
No. Go ahead. We can.
What are the challenges you witness streaming services facing when it comes to collecting the data from the audience?
Yeah. So this is one of the main challenges that you find when you want to become data driven. Okay, because normally there's so many data sources you have to integrate that you have like a stopper in the IT departments, because at the end of the day they have to integrate a lot of different data sources to collect the data first, because the data needs to be collected from all the devices, you know, from all the behavior, things like this. So
from your experience, I set up to a streaming service. I'm the new content provider. I want to see data in 2 months. Is that realistic?
Well, yes, it's realistic. The thing
is the data good after 2 months, though?
No, you can see the data, but 2 months is not enough behavior to make decisions. Right. But it's good to start looking at the data because you see trends. So for example, you can see a number of subscribers, daily subscribers, number of trial conversions, churn rate, things like that. All those data you can see right away since you start. But
so in your opinion, for example, after how many months I've collected good data where I can make some prediction on where this is going? After how many months?
Normally for predictive models, you need 6 months of data, or for churn prediction, for example, things like that. But for example, for the clustering, we have a clustering model, which is behavioral, that we can do it in 2 months. Of course, that gets better, but you already have like clusters of behavior in your users, really valuable.
No, so what you know, and one of the things that we always tell our customers that it's digital transformation or the journey is a marathon, not a sprint, right?
It's a journey. I mean, I was reading one of the questions that says which is the formula, which is the mix. Of course, you showed one mathematical formula, but at the end, it's a cocktail. It's like when you make a cocktail, why the cocktail is good. You know which piece is better, but you need to do like good engagement, good content, good personalization, good delivery, and all that together will have it like a successful case scenario. But of course, all of those have to be really good. You're competing with really good guys there that are doing things really good.
Yeah, so a couple of other questions coming up, and then we're getting close to the 11:30 timeline. But this has been fantastic, really educational for everybody. So what case studies do you have where the return on investment on data efforts pay off? Kumar, any case study where you're saying these guys are using the data efficiently, and that's, you know, they're getting a good return on investment?
Yeah, I'll just give you a couple of examples. So we recently did announced a relationship and a customer in Latin America, in Brazil, Telecine, part of Global. Just using data and without any changes to the video compression or network, we were able to reduce the cost of streaming by over 40% and increase the engagement. Buffering went down. So that's a clear way. I mean, they started using the service on March 1. Right the next day, they saw a great benefit. That's one example. But we are it's a combination of being able to understand as to how people are engaging with the content, how where money is getting lost, where churn. I mean, we are a company that collects data. It's an infrastructure company. And then, I think what Jump's doing is, advanced analysis of the content. So we are able to collect the data that helps understand the patterns that will help the customer make decisions. So our analytics is a combination of collection and action. So we call it analytics that act. So we not just collect it, we help make automated decisions so that you can avoid problems and improve monetization.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jesus, any take there, any
Yes.
real case return on investment efforts that you can share with the rest of the people that are here on the call?
Yes, we have a really good case scenario in a brother company of Telecine in Brazil, which is Global Play. Global Play is the biggest D2C service in Brazil. And we were able to reduce churn by using data with them together in more than 5%, the churn that they have when we started in February. So, and this is just by taking a look at the behavior of data. They found out several of the shows they had, there were a lot of people hooked to those shows that when the show was over, people left. But they also saw some other content while they were in the service. So they started promoting these other shows and they maintained these people in the service. There's a lot of things you can do, but these case scenarios were really successful in the last months.
Okay. And let me jump to another questions. I think we're kind of running out of time, but I wanted to ask one more. Let me see here. What do you think are the main drivers for customer satisfaction and churn, right? And I have an opinion on that one as well, but go ahead. What do you think, Jesus? The main drivers for customer satisfaction and churn reduction?
Well, leaving aside quality of experience, because I think that part should be solved for any big player. I would say, of course, the content catalog that you are offering, that it's kind of tailored to your audience. That's kind of the main driver for me. Of course, we take a look at many other influencers, but we think what drives the engagement and the content performance, as we call it, it's how fit is the catalog that you have to your audience. And this is kind of what we are receiving from clients is what type of content do we need to buy or to produce in order to satisfy our audience. That's kind of our main challenge that needs to be solved, and our clients are asking us for in these days.
But when you mean a catalog, you mean content?
Your content catalog, yeah, the offering, the content catalog that they have.
Okay, all right. And what about you, Kumar? What do you think? What do you think are the main driver for customer satisfaction and churn reduction?
What Jesus said is absolutely true. It's the availability of interesting content to be able to quickly discover the content. Sometimes it's very hidden. If you have thousands of assets, it's not easy to identify them. Being able to have the right monetization structure. If it is ad supported, too many ads or things like that can mess things up. And to really be able to understand the user, users are different. Being able to understand who the user is and to provide the personalized right kind of experience. Everything from streaming quality to the monetization parameters. So to being all of these things matter.
Okay. And then we're going to play a little game. We're done with the questions and answer. I do have something that we do here at Stream. We ask a question. We say a word, and you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind, right? So I'm gonna start with you, Jesus, and then you can go. You know, the first one is gonna have an advantage. So if I say Netflix, what comes to your mind?
Data.
Data, right? Very interesting. What about you, Kumar? If I say Uber, what comes to your mind?
Pervasiveness, ubiquity.
Okay, very good. So let's start with you now, Kumar. Spotify.
Great music. Running.
Okay, great. Jesus, Tesla.
Design.
Design. Okay, interesting. That's somebody that says Tesla is not a car company. Tesla is a big company. Right?
I know. But I don't want to say data again.
But it's nice. Design. Kumar, Hulu.
Ads supported.
Okay. Jesus, Pluto. You can't say the same thing.
Advertisement.
All right. Listen, guys, a lot of fun. Thank you so much. There's no more questions coming for the audience. It's been very interactive. We have recorded this, so we'll put it out on the social media. Thanks for everybody that participated. We have several companies and experts here from Media Melon, Jump TV, and Stream Media. That's really a package solution, in my opinion, for you to win in digital and the OTT space. So thanks everybody again, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.